We have a really sad story here coming out of New York City. Raw Story explains, New York police launched an overnight aerial manhunt Monday in search of a boy who skipped paying $2.75 to ride the subway. But even after police brought helicopters and scent dogs out to search for him, the 16-year-old ended up turning himself in a few hours later, according to the Daily News. He's been charged with escape and theft of services. Okay, so for $2.75, they sent a fucking helicopter and the canine unit. This is almost like a bad comedy movie. And here's a question for you. Somebody pointed this out on Twitter, I think rightly so. How much did the helicopter search cost? They're so concerned about $2.75 that let's send out the helicopter for an adventure that costs probably upwards of a few $1,000. The fuck is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? And then, of course, you have to bring this up because I think this is a factor here. It was a little 16-year-old black kid. I wonder if they would have done this for Donald Trump's kids. Let's say his son Barron, real name by the way, he named it Barron because it beat out D's billionaire nuts and fuck the peasants. But imagine that kid hopped off the subway and ran. Would there be as, strong a response here? Send out the helicopter, Johnson. Yes, sir. Law and order, sir. Law and order. No, this is ridiculous. And I couldn't help but think, every line I was reading this story, I couldn't help but think, how much did those motherfuckers on Wall Street steal from the country? Dude, they got over a $10 trillion bailout when all is said and done, and you include the quantitative easing. Over a $10 trillion bailout. Think about what they did. They sold toxic mortgages, which they knew were shit. They packaged them up and sold them off like hot potato. And just so they can report the earnings on their books, they engaged in fraud. Remember what Goldman Sachs did? Goldman Sachs sold those packages as if they were good to unsuspecting clients and then turned around and bet on those same packages to fail. That's fraud. You're selling this thing, you say it's good, you know it's bad, so you bet on it to fail. That's fraud. You can't do that. So they commit fraud. They sell how many mortgages that they know are going to blow up. They know these are predatory loans. They tank the fucking world economy. And what do they get? Pay a little fine here and there, a little slappy slap on the wrist, and then you move along. Nobody's in jail. Nobody's in jail. Bernie Madoff's in jail. Why? He stole from other rich people. When you steal from poor people, somebody loses their house. So they get a mortgage, they lose their house. How much does that cost? How much did you steal from those people? A lot more than $2.75, bitch. And then when they make these horrible decisions, the government rushes in and bails them out with no strings attached. And then they turn around and pay bonuses to the people who crashed their companies. Because there's no accountability for the people who are on Wall Street wearing suits and ties and who look distinguished. But if you're a little 16-year-old black kid that gets on the subway, doesn't pay $2.75, send out the fucking helicopters. Well, maybe those helicopters need to be sent back to Wall Street. Maybe you need to scare the living shit out of them. Send the canine unit to them. See how much cocaine they got on them. You won't do it. You never do it. Because they bought this system. Powerless 16-year-old black kids didn't. So $2.75 gets them jail. He's been charged with escape and theft of services for $2.75. How much did the jackasses on Wall Street steal from us? They tanked the economy. No time in jail. Don't tell me justice is blind. Don't tell me we have a fair justice system. It is empirically true that we do not.